Good morning. Welcome to the weekend workout. My name is Ian.
And I'm Lauren.
From Bars and Bells. We invite you right now to clear up some open space. Start with the simplistic things like working in our hands and our feet and our core, and then we assemble them by the end, working on one of the ultimate strength skills with that body weight, the handstand. But stay tuned for more of that. Right now, we'll start with a little quick transition to the floor, starting with some squats. Pull the feet behind you without moving, but to create room for those ankles to have the knees bend. Then push the hips forward, cramping the glutes, bracing the core, and repeating twice more. Pull ourselves down, push forward, cramping glutes. Repeat one more time as we pull down, and then push through, cramping the glutes. Then using the glutes so much, or the butt cheeks there, find our first rise today. Drive down. Point those toes as much as you can, and slowly return those heels to the floor. Then a light pivot on those heels so that we're in a nice narrow first position, and same effort. Let's pull ourselves down, have the knees reach to the back wall, and then squeeze your glutes, push through, extending the hips. Feel the pull effort down to slow the descent, and power up by pushing into the floor. Repeating one more time, we'll pull low, and then pull through. And this time again, find a balance. Toes root down, kneecaps pull up, those glutes squeeze, rib cage down, and then slowly return the heels to the floor. Let's step out to that wider stance and repeat the same effort, pulling ourselves down, but this time, let's just stay here. With this foot, be heavy on the pinky, but move the knee to the inside or the midline. Then be heavy on the big toe and move the knee away. Repeat the same thing, heavy on the pinky as you bring the knee towards the midline, heavy on the big toe as you move away, and then push through to tall. Woo-hoo. Repeat one more, slightly different variation. Feel ourselves pull down, and now maybe just slide and glide or do anything again that kind of feels nice and stretchy to start. And then power through, and then find our toe balance up here as well. Might require a little bit of a balance aid as well, but no matter what, come down with that control and then push the feet back together. I'll take us to the floor and Lauren will take it away from there after. Let's get down through the toe squat series of pulling ourselves down. The heels gently peel up to allow us to get lower. Then the knees touch quietly. The glutes squeeze. Yes, those glutes squeeze. And on to a little wrist warm up there.
All right, we must prepare our wrists if we are going to practice on them. So let's slowly place them down. Let's get 8 fingertips down. So all those long fingers, thumbs are just off the floor. Callus lines are connected. Pull your shoulders out of your ears. Try to straighten your elbows. And now slowly descend into those palms. Now open up those hands, just thinking about them like feet. So you'd have your weight through all of your toes, as well as the balls of the feet and the heels. Then pull your shoulders down again just to make sure. Screw your elbows into those hands, having them nice and straight. And let's gently drift forward into wrist extension. And then if we were going too far forward in our handstand, we use our fingers to push ourselves back. So press yourself back. Then pull on the floor, drifting forward again into those fingertips and press yourself back. And one last time, we'll drift forward. And then from there, drift a little bit to the right and push those pinkies into the floor to send you to the left. And then push those pinkies in the floor to send you back to center. Peel through the palms, flick the floor away with those fingers, and give that a little shake out. I like to spin our hands all the way around, and again, come down with shoulders down through all the fingers first, and then that palm. Next, one more time, shoulders down, elbows straight, fingertips heavy as we sit back into this. And as you do that, just keep those shoulders out of your ears. Then we'll rock forward. We'll gently bend on the elbows, and we'll slowly again peel the palms away from the floor, bending through the fingers, and then giving that a light shake out. Excellent. From here, we should
roll just a little bit.
Roll.
So we'll open up our stance a little bit wider, clear those laneways so Lauren and I don't smash heads or feet there. So we have those hands nice and wide. Turn one palm up near the hip. Then look, rotating, sniffing the armpit on the other side, aiming to get that shoulder blade towards the floor. Then press through, set up those hands nice and wide again, and then repeat on the other side. So palm that's turned up at the hip, looking through that window. If we progress, we'll roll over the shoulder blade to the hip, making sure we're not rolling over the neck. So stay here if that's appropriate. Use those legs. Pull yourself through into a nice tall sit. We could go front and front, or we could go front and back over time, but just taking your time to create that nice supple spine, and we'll get to that nice strong core with some of Lauren's warm-ups in a second. So one or two more, and have fun with this. Challenge yourself in a nice judo-inspired roll, and go one way, go the other. Oh, yeah, just like that. So we want to be able to roll around and tolerate some of those variations in the handstand as well if we are bailing or falling out of the handstand.
Hopefully not that bad.
But the core transitions here. What are those, Lauren?
All right, let's get to our back to start with that hollow hold, which is an integral piece of our handstand. We're going to imagine we are in our handstand, but we're lying down on the floor. So right now our knees are bent, our feet are flat, our body is neutral in a sense that we're not pushing down that low back to the floor. Chin is tucked. Let's first connect the ribs to the hips. So without changing the spine, ribs to hips. Hold. Breathe underneath that. Maybe this is where you stay, but as over the past weeks we've progressed to lift those knees up over top of the hips, you can extend one leg or both legs. And now we're appearing to be more in our handstand shape. Our toes are pointed, our legs are tight together, our cheeks are squeezed. And for the last move, we could bring those arms towards overhead. Now, if I came through the screen to move you, I could roll you over like a log. I could lift you up into that handstand. You're still breathing. Your legs are nice and tight for 5, 3, 2, everything comes back. Oh, take a second off. Whew. Let's flip from there right into our first plank. So we'll flip over. We'll get to first all fours or do a little push up there. And then we'll have our hands underneath our shoulders, our toes tucked behind us, and lift our knees up to be in our long plank position. Our butt cheeks are squeezed, shoulders are down, and we're breathing. Try to get into that hollow shape while you're here, which means, again, that ribs to hips. Now, let's gently push the floor forward and back and lift the hips up, just lengthening out the hamstrings a little bit. Add a little bend to the knees, tip the tailbone to the ceiling, then slowly try to straighten the knees. That doesn't mean push the heels down, it means try to straighten the knees. Play with that difference a little bit. Then pull yourself back through that plank. Hold. Let's try to get some wrist extension. So shoulders trying to pull over top of your wrists with straight elbows. This time, let's take a foot, flick the floor away, and lift up into that 3-point position, similar to our kick up. Hips are square to the floor, breathing, reaching the leg long, and then pulling back through to that plank. For 5, 4, tight everything. 3, 2, flick the floor away, lift the hips up, stay square, breathe, try to reach, and one more time in that plank. Turn all your muscles on, you'll need them when you're trying to go upside down. For 5, tight hands, tight cheeks, tight core. 2, knees down. Shake your hands out.
Excellent.
Cool.
And from here, let's get to Lauren's tall kneeling stance. Check. Let's tuck those toes underneath, and we'll transition to standing through that toe squat. So with the hands or without, can we find those balls of feet, find our toe balance here, and slowly return to the floor. Give those hands a little break. Let's continue to work on those hips in that movement clock. So we'll start facing forward, pulling up a foot to that ankle position on the standing side, and then point, land toe ball heel, feel the pull effort, and then push forward to go back. Then pull the knee up in the front the same, then open to the 10 or the 2 on the clock, point, land toe ball heel, feel the pull, then the push, and the assemble together. Knee front, knee side, land, toe ball heel, pause here, and just do a little hip hike. Where are those hips optimally level for you? And then push to center. This time, knee front, knee side, look front as long as you can. And then turn to face that back corner, and then push through the foot, knees together. Then keep the knee together like a moonwalk, straight leg in the back, then it blends the bend. We pull, we push, and we repeat on the other side. Knee front, toe point, land, toe ball, heel. Feel the calf stretch, but feel the strength and stability required to move. Knee front, diagonal, point, land, toe ball, heel. Push back to center. And then again, it's in the front to the side, land with a straight leg, then blend the bend. And again, maybe a little extra hip hike there, and push. And then knee front, knee side. Look forward as long as you can, as long as you can, as long as you can. And then face the corner and push. And the knee stays stable. It then straightens out. We sit back and then scissoring leg lunge tension back to our standing tall position. Well, let's get back to the floor and maybe start those kick-ups right away.
All right. Let's start with that tripod entry, and let's just work on getting our feet off the floor. So in that tripod entry in an I go, you go fashion, so we'll take a little break off those hands as Ian goes here. Spreading the hands open on the floor. Stagger stance, straight elbows, shift your weight forward, and let's just hop to get off the floor. Nice and easy warm up here. You can alternate legs, you could scissor them in the air, or you could just switch them once you're on the ground, but do try to warm up both sides here. Just get used to getting the blood a little bit rushing to your head as you're upside down. Get used to the hands taking some weight, and we'll continue to add on.
They're called the handstands. You want to be careful about the hands, but can't overstate the importance of rooting the fingers, loading those arms upside down. And as Lauren said, check out how the head feels with upside down today, as sometimes the first time is quite challenging. So doing that nice scissor check there, started out nice and low, and with practice and confidence, got a little higher. Let's shake that out. Let's skip right away into that nice, into the next step-in variation of our handstand.
So that step-in variation, we'll start with the arms overhead, elevated shoulders, and in that hollow position we practice lying on the floor. Then take one foot forward, step into that, and again, just find that baby air to start, and then progress. If you're nervous you're gonna go too far, we've talked about keeping that second leg trailing behind you, creating that L-shaped line, and that'll always pull you back down to where you came from. So take your time before you bring those two legs up, or even try that scissor action as you go here. And then also remember to push the floor away to get back to that standing position. So really give that floor a shove to stand yourself back up to tall.
Stay fresh with the reps. Do a couple and finish like you could have done a couple more. It allows an opportunity to stay fresh and safe as you practice your handstand here. So Lauren's hollowing out, quietly accepting the floor, and you can see that hand flick as you stand up to make sure that you push the floor away to stand back to tall.
Last one.
Last one, try to finish on that nice controlled rep as you wish, and then a little shake. There's one more little secret today, or at least not a secret, but a surprise. What is it, Lauren?
We're going to work on our tuck handstands. So this takes it to a new level. What we're going to do is we'll place our hands on the floor as we would for that tripod entry. But we're going to take off a 2-foot hop and try to get your hips overhead, keeping the knees tucked tight together. So first just start little hop off the floor, see what that's like. Then slowly progress to getting the hips over the head. You will notice you'll probably need a little more power out of those feet, but also be careful to not send it a little too much power there either. We're trying to stay knees tight to the body here and bent.
And the pressure on the head, the pressure to maintain all those cues Lauren said, but there's no pressure. There's no pressure. It's just that nice exploration and great cues. So Lauren's holding those credit cards between the knees, at the hamstrings and the calves, and also at those hip flexors, staying nice and tight like a cannonball, or tight like a tiger. I'm sorry. I don't know.
And next.
That didn't land. We're moving on, but stay tuned for more handstands. Until then, let's just continue the work with the squat. Let's do the movement clock again, but this time the leg that stays stationary does the bending, and the other leg is just nice and straight out front. Pull the leg back, but push the hip through. Same leg from the front, we'll reach towards the diagonal corner, and then push through, and then out to the side, and push through. Then lastly to the back 2 times, back corner, and then straight back, where we might get a little bit of a lean forward on that, and then through. Switching feet, it's to the front, and push through. To the diagonal, hips through. Out to the side, hips through still. Now out the back corner, keep the knee nice and straight. And out the back for the last one. Explore that movement clock. Feels like you go everywhere without ever leaving your gym space or your home space where you're at. We've done 3 variations on those kick-ups, including the down dog, plank transitions as well. So choose the right activity for you. But today, we'll be progressing towards freestanding handstands in the center, starting with a 5-second hold. Team Lauren, are you ready to work in that I go, you go way? Take your time. Walk around like an elephant. Remember the wall exercises we've done. And here, try to hold your handstand for 5 seconds. It might take us once or twice to get into that, but once you're there, hold it, go through the checklist, pointing toes, hollowing out, and that's our first 5 seconds there for sure. And with control, come back down. We'll do 2 sets in this I go, you go way, so take your rest in between.
All right, we're shaking out our wrists while Team Ian goes, and he likes to choose that step and entry. So whatever it may be, choose your entry, and you're trying for 5 seconds. If 5 seconds today is not 5 Mississippis, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That works.
I accept that.
That works. That works. So give yourself that opportunity to rest, and maybe we could do these double sets, or maybe it's one and done, and just nice observations after. But that Team Lauren, fighting that banana shape gorgeously with those toes. Point and breathe. 5 seconds, and down with control. Do a number that you could do again and again. And without jinxing myself, here we go.
So another 5-ish seconds are your version of, and again, just as Ian said, you could be working on a 5-second plank hold. You could be doing your 3-point down dog. You could be climbing that wall. So it doesn't have to be, you could be walking like an elephant. It doesn't have to be all the way upside down if that's not right for you.
That's 2 for me, and I believe that's 2 for them. So let's take some time off those hands and return to the squat. Let's start then with the feet in that turned out position, or that first position, and we'll do our pull down squat first. Now let's transfer the weight to a single leg, so that'll be my right, and I'll reach my other leg out front. Hold for a second. Now stand up on the standing leg, and then return that leg underneath. Let's repeat that to the side. So we go down on 2 feet, a weight transfer, a point, stiffen the leg, point those toes, stand up, and pull in. Let's repeat that effort on the same efforts, but other side. So pull down into our squat, reach out front and hold, stretch the standing leg, and then pull the other leg back to return. Same thing last time, knees bend, out to the side, full stretch of the leg, pull together. We'll return to that movement in just a second with a little add-on, but until then, 5 seconds. What comes after that? 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, and maybe even to 10. So find a low number like 5 for us here today, followed by that high number, and here we go, waving the time as we go into the handstand. So that's 3 and 4. And keep your breathing and keep your own time going, but something in that represents a low and then a high effort, just like Team Lauren there. Excellent job. Excellent job. So we know your hands are on the floor.
No pressure when somebody's counting your Mississippis.
I know.
Shake that out. Remember, take your break. You're going with one of us, whatever activity you're doing, you're always taking a break off those hands. Even though it's only a half-hour practice, that's a lot of time to spend on your wrists. So take your time and don't overwork your wrists, because then you won't be able to handstand at all, and that's no fun. Whew. 10.
I hope that was 10. Hey, time does go by differently when you're upside down, so take your time and rest accordingly. Does your body feel ready to go? Team Lauren's ready to rip, roaring, ready to go. So again, about a 10-second hold here. Breathing, pointing toes, lightly squeezing your bum, hollowing out, looking between those hands will be my winning strategy for where I look. And I'm not sure, Lauren, but that is sure 10 seconds. Awesome job. Our turn.
All right, Team Ian. 10 seconds. 10 seconds, what are you doing? Climb that wall. Get into your elephant shape. Spend some time even just in your hand, all fours position on your wrists. Feel the weight in your hands. Use the fingertips, use the palms to find that guidance, to find that push and pull, and then always come down safely.
Awesome. Awesome. Returning to the squats. So again, start in that modest turned out position or first. We'll pull ourselves down. We'll reach a leg to the front. Check. Hold for a second. The bent knee, have it reach to the wall behind you as we take the leg that's out front and bring it out to the side. And then bring it out to the front. And then just stand nice and tall on that standing leg. Repeating once more. The leg might go out a little further as you get down. Keep the bent knee reaching to the back wall. Then from the front, show that inseam forward. And then back to the front, nice and tall. And then back to the original position. Perhaps a little shake is welcome there. And repeating the same thing on the other side. Pull down, reach front. Keep the leg straight. Keep the toe pointed. Hold for a second. Bring it back to the front. And stand nice and tall. And repeat one more time. The leg may go further. And then further out to the side and hold. The knees bending, reaching to the side. Front, stretch, together, and chill. Wave it. 5, 10. Let's come back to quick sets of 5 here. And maybe mix up that entry style. I'm going to try that tripod, Lauren. It looks like really good today. Ugh. Find the one that works for you. And let's check it out. 5 seconds.
So does that mean I should do a step?
You can do whatever you want to do. 5 seconds or so. Something, again, that represents that low number and then a little higher after. Take your time. Get the setup just the way you want. Nice. Awesome. The slow leg lift Lauren did there, very challenging, but very rewarding, filling in those gaps with time and tension. Nice job.
Whew. Shaking it out. So you may ask here, did you switch your legs? In this sort of practice where I am going for that time, I am sticking to my more preferred method, which is my left leg in front there, getting into that handstand position, just to practice that consistency. But when we are practicing our kick-ups for reps, that's where I take the time to practice both legs. So
that's one set. Let's get that second set in there as well. So taking the time, and as you see, Lauren's routine is always the same. She grabs, she loads, and points, and gets distracted sometimes by the extra words, but we get it back because those toes are pointed, the knees are straight, the hollow shape is there. Breathing like a dragon perhaps too. Oh yeah, nice. And then that reverse tuck down, very cool.
Reverse tuck.
Okay.
All right, one more time for Team Ian here. Again, we're shaking it out. We're breathing. We're letting the blood come back down. Whew. And this is that 5-second upside down. Find a new entry. Take off the other leg. Stick to the basics, whatever it may be, for 3-ish, 2, and then.
Awesome.
Nice.
We have one more set of handstands coming up, but also just one last set of the squat. Just return to that first position and pull ourselves low. We'll take a single leg to the front, but this time might we lift it off the ground. And then from off the ground out front, off the ground to the side, and then back to the front, tap it down, full extend for a little break. Repeat again as it goes out front with a lift. Lift the leg, but not the hip. Out at the side, are those hips still nice and level? And then bring it back to the front, tap it down, push through, and return. Holy quads. We do hope that that's loading muscle groups, high tension across muscles, not joints. Listen to this crankiness of the body and respect it if there's a limitation. But here we go. We're in the knee bend. We're going to lift it and reach to the side and breathe. And then return it to the front, tap, full extend for what is a little bit of a break. Repeat again as we go low, knee bend, reaching back, heavy on the pinky side. We lift the front foot, then out to the front, then out to the side. Hold that balance, back to the front, tap, stand, return, and shake.
All right.
Maybe it's
another round of kick-ups.
Maybe it's 10 seconds, or maybe it's that minute of craziness right away here. But this is our last exercise on those hands as part of that handstand practice here. So let's finish with strength, finish with a challenge. 1 minute, Lauren.
1 minute.
Let's do it.
So whether you're trying to just stay on your wrist for 1 minute, whether that's in the plank, the upside down, the elephant crawl, or an upside down handstand the entire time, We'll see.
Let's do it.
Let's put a minute on the clock. We'll go in 7 seconds here. Find your place.
So that's like 3 and 2. Have at it.
Oh, that was good. We have 10 seconds left here. Oh,
Nice.
my arms were pumped up. They
Yeah,
were
my grip
working.
strength. I think it was the pull-ups we did last night. I'm not sure. That was
Oh, all those
awesome.
kick-ups,
That was
too.
awesome. And we hope that your hands were firmly placed on the floor. And if they weren't, or if they're not, maybe you're writing a little message there to let us know how your handstand practice went, or you're clicking and liking and subscribing to this video and this channel.
Yeah. Or you're drinking coffee.
Or you're drinking coffee. That's over there.
Thanks for joining us this morning on our body weight practice. We have our last week of our 3rd semester of the year already.
Wow.
Next week. We start on Tuesday with the kettlebell practice, Thursday at the bar, and then on Saturday we're back to our body weight practice for one more time. So stick with us till then for that last class. We'll be taking a week off and coming back to semester 4 for the summer.
Wow. Semester 4.
Until then, like and subscribe on YouTube. Check out our website and Patreon page. And until then, take care.
Stay strong.
And we'll train soon.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.